Hello everyone, my name is Choi Yi-hwan and I'm in Godong Middle School. Today I will introduce about global warming. First chapter is what is global warming. Glaciers are melting, sea levels are rising, forests are dying, and wildlife is scrambling to keep pace. It has been clear that humans have caused most of the past century warming by releasing heat-trapping gases as we power our modern lives. Cold greenhouse gases, their levels are higher now than at any time in the last 800,000 years. We often call the result global warming, but it is causing a set of change to the Earth's climate, or longer-term weather patterns that varies from place to place. While many people think of global warming and climate change as synonyms, scientists use climate change when describing the complex shifts now affecting our planet's weather and climate system, in part because some areas actually get cooler in the short term. Climate change encompasses not only rising average temperature but also extreme weather events, shifting wildlife population and habitats, rising seas, and a range of other impacts. All of those changes are emerging as humans continue to add heat-trapping greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, changing the rhythm of climate that all living things have come to rely on. What we will do, what can we do to slow this human-caused warming? How will we cope with the change we've already set into motion? While we struggle to figure it all out, the fate of the Earth as we know it coast, forest farms and snow-capped mountain hangs in the balance. Next chapter is greenhouse gases. The greenhouse effect is the warming that happens when certain gases Earth's atmosphere trap heat. These gases let in light but keep heat from escaping, like the glass walls of the greenhouse, hence the name. Sunlight shines onto the Earth's surface where the energy is absorbed and then radiate back into the atmosphere as heat. In the atmosphere, greenhouse gas molecules trap some of the heat and the rest escapes into space. The more greenhouse gases concentrate in the atmosphere, the more heat gets locked, locked up in the molecules. Scientists have known about the greenhouse effect since 1824 when Joseph Fourier calculated that the Earth would be much colder if it had no atmosphere. This natural greenhouse effect would keep the Earth's climate livable. Without it, the Earth's surface would be on an average of about 60 degrees
So if you're ready, we're going to
Fahrenheit.
start the presentation session for our SDG book club. And who would like to go first? If there are no volunteers, Jimin, can you start our presentation session by sharing your screen?
In 1895, the Swedish chemist climate change is partly a natural and partly a man-made phenomenon. Human activity isn't the only factor that affects Earth's climate. Volcanic eruption and variations in solar radiation from sunspot, solar wind, and the Earth's position relative to the Sun also play a role. So do large-scale weather patterns such as El Niño. But climate models that scientists use to monitor Earth temperatures take those factors into account. Change, changes in solar radiation level as well as many particles suspended in the atmosphere from volcanic eruption. For example, have contributed only about 2% to the recent warming effect. The balance comes from greenhouse gases and other human-caused factors such as land use change. The short time scale of this recent warming is singular as well. Volcanic eruption, for example, emit particles that temporarily cool the Earth's surface, but their effect lasts just a few years. Even like El Nino also work on fairly short and predictable cycles. On the other hand, the type of global temperature fluctuations that have contributed to ice ages occur on a cycle of hundreds of thousands of years. For thousands of years now, emissions of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere have been balanced out by greenhouse gases that are naturally absorbed. As a result, greenhouse gas concentration and the temperatures have been fairly stable, which has allowed human civilization to flourish within the consistent climate. Now humans have increased the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution. Changes that have historically taken thousands of years are now happening over the course of decades. Last, why is this important? The rapid rise in greenhouse gases is a problem because it's changing the climate faster than some living things can adapt to. Also, a new and more unpredictable climate poses unique challenges to all life. Historically, Earth's climate has regularly shifted between temperatures like those we see today and temperatures cold enough to cover much of North America and Europe with ice. The difference between average global temperature today and during those ice ages is only about 9 degrees Fahrenheit, and the swings have tended to happen slowly over hundreds of thousands of years. But with concentration of greenhouse gases rising, Earth's remaining ice sheets, such as Greenland and Antarctica, are starting to melt too. That extra water could raise sea levels significantly and quickly. By 2050, sea levels are predicted to rise between 1 and 2 to 3 feet as glaciers melt. As the mercury rise, climate can change in unexpected ways. In addition to sea levels rising, weather can become more extreme. This means more intense major storms, more rain followed by longer and drier droughts, a challenge for growing crops, change into the range in which plants and animals can live, and loss of water supplies that have historically come from glaciers. Thank you.